Hi everyone, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Clark Wolf, and this is our daily show bringing you the latest movie news and insight into what it all means. Joining me, as always, is AMC Editor-in-Chief John Campea. John, hello.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Today's moment of truth. 2 wrongs do not make a right, but 3 rights do make a left. I just wanted to point that out.
Very nice. We are all much smarter. Thank you very much. And also joining us today is AMC Associate Editor Amy Rose Eisenbach. Hello, Amy.
Hey, Clark. What a wonderful day it's going to be today. I woke up this morning and I was just like, today's going to be great. And so far, so good. So let's keep it going.
I agree. Okay, so on that note, on that great note, guys, we'd be remiss if we did not mention that both of you were at the premiere of Iron Man 3 last night, and both of you have seen the film. So, John, let's start with you. What did you think?
Okay. Iron Man 3, tough thing, and look, let me get this out of the way because I've been getting lots of email about it. Iron Man 3 tickets, we are recording this on April 25th in the morning. Iron Man 3 tickets do go on sale at amctheaters.com later today.
Yay, good to know.
So this issue apparently has been settled, so you can go to amctheaters.com to get your tickets for Iron Man 3 later today. Now, the big question is it worth going to get your tickets for? I'm here to tell you, yes. I've actually seen the film twice already. And here's my general opinion of this. And I think Amy Rose and I agree on this. This Iron Man 3 is a huge, significant step up from Iron Man 2, which is a huge sigh of relief for all of us.
Word.
But it's not just a minor improvement. It is a significant step up from Iron Man 2. For me personally, it's not quite as good as Iron Man 1, but that is still an excellent range to be in, especially, look, there's huge hangover potential here coming out of Avengers. There's huge letdown potential. Because it's no matter what they did, it's not going to live up to Avengers. It can't be done unless you're doing Avengers 2. But it did a great job. It's a very entertaining film. This is a very, and you know what? I'll say this. I don't want to give any spoilers away. There are some twists and turns in this film, and I want to make sure we don't spoil any of them. But to me, and I mentioned this to Amy Rose before, this is more of a Tony Stark movie than an Iron Man movie.
That's awesome.
I remember the director Shane Black told us at Comic-Con, we were talking to him there last year, and he said, this movie, Iron Man 3, is really going to be about Tony going back to the cave. And we've never really known what he's meant by that at all. I've had no idea what he meant by that until we saw the movie. It's like, okay, I get it. First of all, Robert Downey Jr. is completely on in this movie.
He's always on.
The best thing about Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man is not him as Iron Man, but rather him as Tony Stark and his banter that he usually has with Pepper or Happy. And in this film,
Rhodes.
with Rhodey. But in this film, there's a kid in this film with him, and the banter and the dialogue throughout the film that Robert Downey Jr. shares with the kid in the movie, to me, is the best parts of the movie. It's the best, most entertaining parts of the movie. Pepper Potts takes a much more significant role in this film than she has in the others. She's really grown and developed. It's great seeing Jon Favreau, as part of the film, even though he's not directing it anymore, but he's still the executive producer of the film. This is an exciting, fun, energetic, very witty, quick-paced, even though it's kind of a long runtime movie, that
didn't feel that way.
That is just, it's a lot of fun. This is a fun movie. Now, I'm not going to give a spoiler away, but Amy Rose and I were talking about one of the twists in the film I really liked. I wish I could talk about it openly. I really liked. I have a fear that some fans may backfire with some fans, but I know for myself and a lot of the critics so far, right now as of this morning, it has a 96% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Now that's sure to go down a little bit. The question is, will it stay in the 90%? I think it will stay in the 90% range. A fun movie, not quite as good as Iron Man 1, major step up from Iron Man 2. Amy Rose, your thoughts on Iron Man 3?
It was so much fun. Like last night at the premiere, I literally was smiling like major geeked out fan. Like it was just so much fun to be there, and the cast is so great. Shane Black at the helm was
Let me interrupt you just for a second. Dennis has got a great picture of actually you at the red carpet last night, so I'll have Dennis bring that up now. And I was there too. Now we have both seen the film before. Last night you were covering the carpet for us. I was actually attending the screening, so we got some pictures of us there last night. Much fun, and actually, we've got some deep history. I mean, obviously, I've had a chance a number of times to get together with Joss Whedon. and talk to him. He's been at parties of ours, and we've had a chance to hang out at junkets, and that's been all great. But our host today, Clark, has also had a chance to schmooze with the Joss.
I sure have. Greatest night of my life.
But anyway, continue with your thoughts. Sorry to interrupt.
It's all right. All right. Shane Black. Him at the helm was so great. Now, obviously, him and Robert Downey Jr. have worked together on Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Great,
awesome movie.
Lethal Weapon. He wrote that. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. This, like, he is just such a really amazing writer and director. And I really respect people that can do both because they really pave the way of how they envision this universe and this film. Now, I talked to the cast and the screenplay writer and everyone, and last night, they're just fans of the comics, and I think that really translates in the film. The certain liberties and the things we're not going to spoil, the twists and turns of the film, it worked for us because I really felt the love behind the film, the production. And Robert Downey Jr., I mean, come on. He's just so good at this role. I don't even really think he's acting. That's him.
Yeah.
That's really him. And Ben Kingsley and Guy Pearce. And I really liked seeing Rhodey and also Pepper Potts a lot more fierce in this film. They really have evolved, and it's great to see it come to fruition before our very eyes. So I really loved it. Still number one because I think the nostalgia of just being introduced to these amazing characters and seeing how amazing Robert Downey Jr. is at Tony and Iron Man as well. I mean, I guess anyone can go in the suit and you wouldn't really know, but Tony is the real deal. And just, the nostalgia of that. But 3 was really great. I mean, 2, we were all a little hesitant, but 3, it's back on track, and I love this trilogy, and Shane Black did a wonderful job, and I think you're all going to really love it, so get those tickets. Woo!
One of the highest bits of praise I can give the film, too, because most of you know, one of my favorite directors is Guy Ritchie. I love his style. So it really felt like a Guy Ritchie movie to me. Yeah. Like if Shane Black and Guy Ritchie ever decided to do a movie together, it would be one of the most insane films ever made. But to me, it felt like a lot like a Guy Ritchie film.
As we all know, The Avengers 2 opens in AMC theaters everywhere in 2015, and director Joss Whedon is already hard at work on the sequel. In recent interviews, Joss Whedon let a couple of details slip about the new script, saying the following. I've got these 2 characters, 2 of my favorite characters from the comic book, a brother and sister act. They're in the movie. It's going really well. Eventually, someone will explain to me that it's not and pull me out of my bubble. I've been writing in meeting with the actors, and we're starting to storyboard, all the preliminary processes. This is the part where it's all still fun. Now, John, what do you think about what our nerd god Joss is saying, and who do you think this brother and sister team could be?
Well, it's always great hearing. There's 2 things I love about what I'm hearing from Joss. One is that he thinks it's going well, but 2, he's got his feet grounded in reality that he realizes that just because he thinks it's going well doesn't necessarily mean it's going.
It's going well.
Look, let's be honest. As much as we love Joss, he's written some crap. He has.
You bite your tongue.
But the best thing about it, here's the but everybody has. But the genius of Joss Whedon is he knows it and wants to always be aware that he has the potential to write crap.
For sure.
And that's what makes him so good.
He's so humble. I love him.
That's what makes him so good.
Joss really is the man. Like, I had the chance to talk to him last night as well, a little bit about Avengers 2, just about working with Robert. And he's just so humble and amazing, and I loved him. And Stan Lee winked at me. What's up?
What?
I'm reading everywhere online, everybody's saying, well, he must be talking about Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Of course, the children of Magneto, who have been in the X-Men universe and they've been in the Avenger universe. So there's some crossover there. So, who has the rights to Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch is a big question. But here's something I want to throw out there. Me personally, I don't think he's talking about Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. I think he's talking about Aurora and Northstar.
Yeah.
I think he's talking about Aurora and Northstar, who are actually a pretty fascinating brother and sister team. They're, of course, from Alpha Flight, which is where Wolverine came from. It's the Canadian version of the X-Men in the Marvel universe.
Which is why you love it.
Exactly. That's why you know all this stuff right off the bat.
Who doesn't love Puck?
We do, Mr. Canadian.
I could see Jean-Claude Van Damme. No.
What?
So, no, Northstar, and I think Northstar might have been officially, Dennis or somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I think Northstar might have officially been the first gay character in the Marvel, he was, in the Marvel universe. So there's some really interesting stuff there. Their powers are really well suited, and there's not that question mark about do they belong to the X-Men universe or do they belong to the Avengers? Now, he very well could be talking about Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. And if he is, huzzah. I mean, that's pretty awesome. How cool would that
Your
be?
new cool phrase, huh?
Huzzah. I'm bringing back huzzah. So yeah, I love this news. Any way you cut it, I really like this news. Whether it's Quicksilver and North Star, or Quicksilver and Star Witch, or North Star and Aurora, I think this is great news. Amy Rose, what do you think?
I hope it's Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, obviously because I'm a crazy X-Men fan. And I mean, if we can get the rights to that, can we borrow Magneto a little bit too?
Yeah, because they're going to lend Magneto.
Can we have
out,
the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants pop up? Mystique revital? I mean, let's just get crazy. Let's do the crossover we've always wanted to see. So I am, obviously that's who, I mean, most people are speculating that it was, and they're such an awesome sibling group. That,
they really are.
That would be so badass. But at the same time, how does that work with rights? I mean, obviously secondary characters maybe. Fox didn't plan that ahead. I don't really know. A girl can dream.
Yeah.
But either way, the fact that Joss is so excited about this, and he's just, I really just trust him with this universe, and he's just such a big fan. I asked him last night how it feels to be like one of the most beloved godfathers of this universe, and he's just, this is a dream come true for him, and that translates to his amazing, amazing Avengers 1 and 2 is coming. So I really hope it is Scarlet, and maybe, you know, give a little more X-Men love in this, but we'll see. We'll see how it unfolds. Either way, in Joss we trust.
That's right. I say we go the Patton Oswalt route and just like throw Star Wars
everybody
and Marvel and crossover, but hey, that's just me.
Let's do
it. Okay, so moving on. The classic 60s TV series The Man from U.N.C.L.E. is heading to the big screen. Now, the film was originally supposed to be directed by Steven Soderbergh and was going to star George Clooney. And now, however, the film is being helmed by Sherlock Holmes director Guy Ritchie, your fave, and will star Tom Cruise. Now, it's being reported that Cruise has found his partner. The Lone Ranger himself, Armie Hammer, has signed on to star in the film with Cruise. Amy Rose, what do you make of this Uncle team?
I like it. I do. I'm not that familiar with the show. I was born a little later and did not catch any DVDs. But I really love Tom Cruise as an actor. Don't care about his wacky personal life. As an actor, I really like him. I think he's good at action. He's good at drama. He's good at comedy. Les Grossman. I mean, he's just a really, really good actor. And I really like Armie Hammer. I think that, you know, Lone Ranger will be interesting to see him in more of a starring role. But I definitely think he was great, even though J. Edgar was really slow. He held his own against Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's one of the best actors out there, I think. And, you know, he's also great in The Social Network. So I really like this pairing. And Guy Ritchie, I mean, Snatch is still one of my favorite movies of all time. I love his style. I like Sherlock, Lock, Stock, all of his films. What I really respect about a director is when maybe you don't even know they directed a film and you just catch a glimpse of it and you can tell immediately that it's them because their style is so distinctive. That's how Guy Ritchie is. He really just has such a vision, and he's such a visionary director, and I really think these three together could really make magic together. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how it unfolds.
Yeah, it's what's interesting in this too is that, you know, Tom Cruise, I guess just why not just call Man from U.N.C.L.E. Mission Impossible 5? I mean, it's like he's going right back in. But sticking on Armie Hammer, I just had a chance to actually get together and talk with Armie Hammer last week in Las Vegas. And the dude is as cool and as humble and as funny as you would hope he would be. Look, I've said this for a long time. The Social Network, when you talk about The Social Network, everybody wants to talk about Justin Timberlake and
Jesse Eisenberg.
And Jesse Eisenberg, who, you know what, to me, they did well. But to me, the guys who made The Social Network were Andrew Garfield and Armie Hammer. They gave the heart and soul, I believe, to that film. He's exceptional. And you know what? Armie Hammer has very quietly gone about compiling an impressive resume with who he's worked with. He has starred alongside of Julia Roberts in that Mirror Mirror film. He starred alongside Leonardo DiCaprio. He's now starring alongside Johnny Depp. It's funny because I was talking to him and I heard a lot of reporters asking him, what's it like working with Johnny Depp? What's it like working with Johnny Depp? He came up and said, dude, what's it like for Johnny Depp to work with Armie Hammer?
That's right. I'm 6'5" and there's two of me.
Yeah, he's awesome. I think now he's going to be working with Tom Cruise. This guy is being groomed to rule Hollywood for a long time. He's wonderful. I think this sounds intriguing. Like you said, Tom Cruise is very good at action, so I think he'll fit right in with Uncle. I think Armie Hammer will be a great partner for him, and let's see where this goes. All right, folks, well, listen, we've come to that part of the show for buy and sell. Here's how this works. Clark has a bunch of other issues from the world of movie news. She's going to read them off, and Amy Rose and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Clark, what do we got?
All right, here we go. Immortals and Mirror Mirror director Tarsem Singh and Ryan Reynolds are in talks to direct and star, respectively, in the upcoming sci-fi movie Selfless. The film focuses on a man who, getting on in his years and close to death, puts his mind in a younger body. Soon, though, he learns the means by which his new body was obtained and finds himself on the run from a company trying to silence him. John, buy or sell Selfless?
I'm going to sell this. Although there are many things about this I like the sound of. I love Ryan Reynolds as an actor. This story sounds rather intriguing. I'm right now on the wrong side of the fence with Tarsem Singh. While I kind of enjoyed Immortals, I didn't really like the direction of it. I did not like Mirror Mirror, and I wasn't a big film of that Jennifer Lopez movie that he did a while ago, The Cell. I'm not really a big fan. To me, he's a great visual, but not a lot of substance. I'm going to keep an open mind about it. I am going to see it, but for now, for me, it's a sell. Amy Rose?
That's why I'm going to buy it, because I think that visually he is really good. The Cell was such a stunning cinematic achievement, plot, whatever, but visually it was like a mind trip. It was really beautiful. Same with Immortals, while maybe the plot wasn't as great, visually it was really, really well done, I thought. And I think Ryan Reynolds is your substance. He brings that substance in. He's such a great actor. He's constantly redefining how we know him. And I love sci-fi, so I'm in.
Cool. All right. I'll break the tie. I'll sell it. Okay, next. It's being reported that 20th Century Fox is developing a remake for the 1955 musical Guys and Dolls, and that they are looking to line up Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Channing Tatum in the two lead roles. The original film follows a bet between two friends, Frank Sinatra's Nathan Detroit and Marlon Brando's Sky Masterson, to win the affections of a woman who runs a mission. Amy Rose, buy or sell a Guys and Dolls remake with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Channing Tatum?
Bye. Love be a lady tonight. It's so good. It's so good. Frankie Sinatra was so good. And we saw the Oscars that Joseph can dance. And we already know that my man Channing can. Hey-oh. So I think it's going to be great. And it's such a great story. And yeah, I'm excited.
I'm surprisingly enough, I'm going to buy this too. Now, Sinatra and Brando, Gordon-Levitt and Magic Mike are not yet. But you're right. We saw a little preview of both of them doing song and dance numbers at the Oscars this year. So you know what? If you're going to put anybody, but really, it's unfair. Who is Sinatra?
No one.
Nobody
Frankie?
right now. So that's an unfair comparison, I admit. So yeah, overall, I'm curious about this. I'm going to buy it.
Yep. And Gordon-Levitt was so good on SNL when he did make them laugh. It's a throwback to the old musicals. I think it's going to be cool too. Good. Okay, next up we have reports have emerged that Chris Rock has signed Rosario Dawson to play the female lead in his upcoming yet-to-be-titled comedy, which he is writing and directing. While plot details are not yet available, the film is said to take place in New York City and pokes fun at show business. John, buy or sell Dawson teaming up with Rock for the new project?
Considering there are very few laws in the statutes of men that I would not break for Rosario Dawson, I am obligated to buy. I'll just leave it at that. Amy Rose?
I will also buy a little more hesitantly. Rosario Dawson's gorgeous and talented, and she's the sweetest person ever to interview as well. But Chris Rock, I don't know if I want to see him direct. While he is very witty, obviously, in his comedy.
Amazing stand-up comedian.
Yeah, he's really great. So that might translate. I really like him writing it. Directing, only time will tell. But I am definitely going to cautiously optimistically buy this.
All right, folks, well, listen, we've come to that point of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you would like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Every single day, we pull a bunch of questions out of the mailbag and address them on air. Clark's got a few pulled out, so Clark, what do we got?
Okay, here we go. Our first question today is a video question from Adolfo from Uruguay, who has a question about Jason Statham and Fast and the Furious. Let's take a look.
Hello AMC Movie Talk, my name is Algo Rosito from Uruguay, and just like you, I have a TV and radio show about movie news. Tonight, while I was doing research for it, I saw on IMDb that Jason Statham is gonna be part of Fast and Furious 6. Until now, it was only a rumor that he may be appearing at the end of this one in a cameo and possibly becoming the main bad guy on the next one, and because, as far as I know, nobody's saying that he's gonna be part of this movie yet, and the fact that a couple of years ago, I had a similar experience when I saw Hugh Jackman's name on the cast of X-Men First Class a few weeks before the opening and they erased it immediately. I'm sending a few screenshots from IMDb just in case the same happens. So, John and friends, What do you think about Jason Statham becoming part of the Fast and the Furious series? I love your show, and all the best from Montevideo, Uruguay.
All right, well, thank you so much for the question, Adelpho. First of all, I must ask you, can you please come and be the full-time regular host for AMC Movie Talk? Because, dude, you've got the coolest accent in the world.
You're kind of the cutest ever, by the way.
All right, let's talk about Jason Statham. Yes, I have heard for a long time that Jason Statham was going to be in there and that they are going to set him up with a small appearance in Fast and Furious 6 to be the main bad guy in Fast and Furious 7. I love this idea for a couple of reasons. One, I would love to see Statham as the villain. I think that would be really cool. I think he is genetically constructed for a Fast and the Furious franchise. I think he'd be great in it, especially if The Rock is still around, if he's recovered from his hernia surgery that we had to go into last week. And you know what? This makes a lot of sense. If all this is true, the stuff that I've been hearing, it makes sense that they were ready, because we were all caught off guard when Vin Diesel came out and said, hey, we're going to start shooting Fast and the Furious this summer. Fast and Furious 7. Well, now it kind of makes sense. If they already kind of had the blueprint of where they were going, and it was going to be Statham, and they've got all those ducks lined up, then yeah, it makes sense. So I do believe this is true. Amy Rose, thoughts?
Yeah, I do as well. I think Jason's great. He's really good at the Fast and Furious vibe as well. Action, adventure, whatever. And I just think he's really likable. He's really likable. This cast is rather stacked, adding Gina Carano and Statham. And I think
Speaking
it's
of Immortals, Luke Evans.
Yeah.
Who is the villain in this one.
Yeah, and it will be cool to see, because he generally is the good guy who, you know, takes a couple liberties to bend the rules and get his man usually in his heist films. But I will really enjoy seeing him as a villain, I think. I'm excited to see him kind of expand his range. And Adolfo, you're the cutest. Come visit us.
Chris Manley writes, hey, love the show. I am hooked on it. Learn new and exciting things every day. Keep it up. I was wondering if there was any news about Saw coming back anytime soon. I loved those movies, and they are way better and more complex than the Paranormal Activity movies. Oh, whatever. Do you think that it would come back at some point, and should it come back? Thanks.
I don't necessarily agree. I mean, the first Saw movie was quite intriguing.
Yeah.
It was actually a really interesting film, and it was kind of unlike any horror genre film I had seen before. It was and it actually it spawned a number of kind of low budget and low quality knockoffs. The sequels, unfortunately, were also lower quality and lower budget knockoffs. But here's the thing: the last I heard, it was that Saw 3D, which was back in 2010, was going to be the last one. Now, I heard an interview with James Wan, who's kind of the creator of Saw and still the producer of the films. He said, nah, they're done. They are done. But he said, you know, they still kind of make money. So at some point in the future, maybe we revisit it. So there is the hope for it. But as of right now, there are no plans for it. Amy Rose, would you be interested in more Saw movies at this point?
No, sorry, gonna respectfully disagree. I did really like the first and even second. I really like psychological
Me too. I kind of didn't mind the second either.
Yeah, it was all right. I like psychological horror movies. I like when they make you think, and it's a game of cat and mouse, and then we get a lot of blood and fun things as well. I love that. I love horror films, but I'm really a firm believer of not juicing every last drop out of a franchise, beating a dead horse to the ground like they are doing Saw 23. Like, I think there are writers out there with fresh ideas, and horror is a huge, very popular, very loved genre. Two of us right here.
Absolutely.
And I think that I'd rather see a new take and possibly a new franchise than another one.
Yeah, and you know, James Wan made that movie for less than $1 million based on an original idea. Like, I wish that they would get the idea. I wish the powers that be would get the idea that, hey, throw $1 million to a really creative young filmmaker, birth a new Saw franchise. That's not, you know, I mean, I agree. I don't need more Saw. Last but certainly not least, Austin L. writes, hey guys, love the show, love all you guys. Anyway, we all know if Man of Steel does well, then Justice League is coming. Well, I just heard that it is confirmed that if Man of Steel does well and there is a Justice League movie, Zack Snyder will definitely be directing it. So, in other words, if there is a Justice League movie, then Snyder will be directing it. Have you guys heard this as well? What do you think of this?
Okay, I gotta go off on this for a second. First of all, Austin, thank you so much for the email, but I gotta go off on this again. I feel like once every 2 or 3 weeks I gotta do this. We need to re-educate our population on the definition of the word confirmed. Did the president of Warner Brothers come out and say that? No, he didn't. This is not confirmed. It is not confirmed. There, in no way, shape, or form is it confirmed that Zack Snyder. One website, and I believe it's a very good website, friends of ours actually, JoeBlow.com, said they heard that this might happen. That is not the meaning of confirmation. Confirmation is when Zack Snyder comes out and says, I have been tapped to direct Justice League. Or when the president of Warner Brothers or DC comes out and says, we have officially confirmed that we are signing. Until that happens, it's not confirmed, it's just rumor. Now, as a matter of fact, last week at CinemaCon, I was told, and actually you did a story on this, and you didn't know this, but I was the source of it.
I knew that.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
I was told, but here's why I don't tweet very much stuff. I was told that they are actually looking at David Goyer, the guy who wrote the Dark Knight movies with Christopher Nolan. He's directed some films before without a lot of success, but he's turned into a go-to writer, and he wrote Man of Steel, and he's actually the guy who came up with the idea for Man of Steel
during Dark Knight problems,
right?
Dark Knight Rises,
and they might be looking at giving him a kick at that can. Now, I just heard that from one person. I put that up on Twitter. That, hey, I just heard that this could be happening, and I immediately followed up with another tweet that says, but for heaven's sakes, take this as a rumor. I'm just telling you what I've heard. This is not a scoop. The next morning I woke up, and I'm like, my tweet is like on the front page of 40 different websites, including like MTV and whatever. It's like, this is why I don't tweet. But anyway, but no, by no stretch of the imagination is Zack Snyder confirmed. Now, let's say, hypothetically, is it true? If it is true, would we like to see a Zack Snyder? I honestly can't answer that question because I'm a little torn about Zack Snyder right now. I really like his style. I love the job he did with 300. Nobody talks about it, but I love the job he did with that Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole movie. I think that actually, directing-wise, it wasn't a great story, but directing, I think he did a great job with that movie. Sucker Punch was obviously a big bag of crap. And then Watchmen.
Not visually.
No, not visually.
Visually is beautiful.
Turn the volume off, but we're talking about making a good motion picture. And, with Watchmen, people's opinions are divided on Watchmen. I kind of liked it, didn't love it. I know some people really didn't like it. I know some people who really did love it. So I'm a little on the fence about Zack Snyder right now. I won't have a definitive answer about what I think about it until I see my most anticipated film of the year, which is Man of Steel. All indications point to that he did a great job. Warner Brothers is saying he did a great job. Of course, it's their movie, so of course they're going to say that. But still, I think it looks amazing. If it's as good as I hope it is, then yeah, I'll be all over the Zack Snyder to direct Justice League bandwagon completely. I'll be on that bandwagon. Amy Rose, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had some people reaching out to me as well on Twitter saying, did you see this? Zack Snyder's directing. And until it's 100% confirmed from the horse's mouth or the studio's mouth, then it's just not, it's nothing to get excited about yet. I do really like, and the source was reported to be Ruben Fleischer, who is friends with Zack Snyder, and he was rumored way back when to possibly be directing Justice League. He obviously did Gangster Squad and Zombieland, better film. But when asked if he was going to do it, apparently he said, no, Zack Snyder will end up doing it. It didn't say is doing it. It's like, it was speculation as well. So that's not really a true source. It's just speculation. I really think Zack Snyder has a really unique twist on filmmaking. While maybe he's a bit better cinematographer than writer, and just like, visually his films are beautiful, and it goes back to what I just said about Guy Ritchie, about when you can tell it's a certain filmmaker's film, you gotta respect that. Whether you think there's holes in it or not, fine, but he's got a really unique style, a really unique voice, and I think he's a good filmmaker. And Man of Steel is gonna be awesome. I really do have high hopes for it, so I'm trying to keep him managed, but it's hard to when everything I've seen is so awesome about it. And Christopher Nolan guiding the way with Zack Snyder. I think those two together are gonna make magic, and Warner Brothers is not stupid. When Man of Steel becomes a huge hit and success, they're going to try to get that team lined up to hopefully Godfather the rest of them. You guys did great together on Man of Steel. Let's see what you can do with Justice League. And then, possibly we'll see some of the characters, and then Henry Cavill can be Superman and all of this, and then it would really kind of get the whole universe going for DC like we have with Marvel. So I really have high hopes for this, and once Man of Steel releases, we'll see a lot more happening. But Warner Brothers isn't stupid. If it's a success, of course they're going to want to recreate that for someone that's doing justice for their property. Get it? Justice?
The other really nice thing about Snyder, listening to you describe the things you like about him, that you really have to admire, is that even in his failures, Snyder is a director who's not afraid to take risks.
He's not.
Sucker Punch, while a complete epic failure.
It wasn't an epic failure.
Oh, it was an epic
pretty
failure.
bad.
It's pretty bad.
It's not
but
great,
it
but
was
visually it's gorgeous.
Bold. It was bold. And if you want great reward, you have to take great risks. And Zack Snyder is a director who's not afraid to take big risks. 300 was a big risk too, and he hit that one out of the park. And you got to admire and you got to respect that about the great filmmakers are the ones who are not afraid to fail epically, because they're the ones who will hit it out of the park the
Even
furthest.
Watchmen had a really cool dark tone. While it wasn't like a slam dunk for me either, because I do love that story, and I just didn't think it was amazing. Visually, it was cool, and the tone of the city was dark and cool as well. So I really think that he's a great filmmaker.
But they should take a look at the Marvel template, in that sometimes substance over style
Of course.
is not a bad thing. And I think that's where Marvel's really done right by their properties, is giving it to people who really, I don't want to say that Zack Snyder doesn't care, but give it to people who have more going on beneath the surface, bringing it back to Joss Whedon.
Well, we'll say the fact that it's written though by the same team that wrote and brought us the Dark Knight series.
Yeah.
I think we're in pretty good
We're in great
hands
hands
so far. All right, folks, listen, we've gone way over time. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, while I got you, before you do anything else, take a second and click that subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news, and of course, our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AMC Theaters. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AMC Theaters. And go on out and see a movie tonight. Go on out and see Oblivion, or get your advance tickets for Iron Man 3 by going over to www.amctheaters.com. You get all your theater, showtime, and of course, movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of the show to listen to on your way to work or on the treadmill, look in the description of this video and you'll find links to our iTunes and our Stitcher radio. And once again, click that subscribe button. I want to thank, as always, first of all, our lovely host, Miss Clark Wolf.
Thank you very much.
Our AMC Associate Editor of Movie News, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Thank you.
And thank you to you guys. Listen, once again, the most important part of the show is not what we have to say, because that's irrelevant. It's what you have to say. Make sure you jump down to the comment section and leave your thoughts on any or all of the topics that we discussed here today. Once again, thanks so much for joining us. My name is John Capia for AMC Movie News. Bye-bye.